Okay. Go, 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 go.
Mumbai Ka trying filter coffee. Episode 1.
Good job.
Hello, hi, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So, today we are going to reminisce a bit, dip into nostalgia, because every time when I have coffee, every time that I pass through flower market or see clear blue skies, it instantly takes me back to my time in Chennai and a whole different past life that I once had. I was in Chennai for over a year and a few months above that. When I was trying to decide if I should move to Chennai or not, I didn't have a lot of good information to rely on, as we didn't know a lot of people staying there. Rather, we didn't know anyone staying there. And any sort of information that we did get from people, it was quite blurred with prejudices, which actually stemmed from not really having any experience of Chennai. So I feel like this video would be a good chance for me to also look back, kind of go through all my memories, and do a beautiful, nice document of my time there, and at the same time also help you guys who are probably thinking of visiting Chennai or probably moving there, as to what all things they could be careful about, or what the experience is like for a person who is not native to Tamil Nadu, who is moving from other states. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So let me start by giving you a quick rundown as to what made me shift to Chennai. So I was looking for an internship to do my graduation project, as I was in my last year of college, and I had a few offers in hand, some being from Jaipur, Bangalore, Mumbai, and then there was Chennai. Um, an easy go-to choice for me would have been any of these cities other than Chennai, because I had some relatives staying there, or I had way more information about these cities than Chennai. But I had a very good feeling about the startup that I ended up working with, which was called Swap Cycle. The kind of role that I was getting to do there was also something that was a better fit for me. So for these reasons, I ended up taking the leap of faith and choosing Chennai. So I went to Chennai first in Jan 23 and I was there till April 23. I had to come back to Mumbai to finish my graduation project, but I got an offer from the same startup, so I ended up joining back. So I went back to Chennai in June 23 and I was there till March 24. So I feel that is a good enough time to kind of get to know the city. And before we move any further ahead, I also want to mention here that my experience is very much influenced by the area that I lived in and the time that I was there. Times are changing rapidly, so I'm sure things might be a little different for you. And again, experiences are subjective, so always take everything that I say with a grain of salt. So, starting with the area that I lived in, I was living in Madipakam initially, and then I shifted to this area called Nanganallur. So, both these areas are close to the airport, but they are a bit far away from the central Chennai, I would say. And it is a bit on the outskirts.
Take. Very sweet.
Going ahead, we have food, and I think that is a very big concern, because any kind of hindrance or disturbance in terms of food can cause serious issues, and it's important that we get that fixed. So, at least in my experience, I would say I was very easily able to adjust to South Indian food here. As a North Indian or a Mumbaiker, I would say ki South Indian food, when we talk about it, we mostly think it's idli, dosa, medu vada, or something like that, but no, there's a rich variety of different kinds of rice, sweets, curries that we absolutely have not heard about. So that is very cool to explore. Also, tiffin items. Matlab basically dosa, idli, medu vada. All of these qualify under this term called tiffin items. Once you have tiffin items in Chennai, it is going to be difficult, my brother, sister, once you go back to any of your other cities. I stay in Mumbai, and whenever I go to Ramashray, which basically is the South Indian place to go to in Mumbai, and I'm like, no, like I really miss my A to B in Chennai, and it's been difficult adjusting back, but I would say obviously, like, please go ahead and have a lot of idli, dosa, medu vada as well. But at the same time, explore the other varieties also in terms of rice and curries. Snacks, lots of different snacks. That is also something you should definitely check out. Also, one more fascinating thing that I found out was they don't serve you tiffin items in lunch, and I was a bit sad about that because idli, dosa, medu vada, and all of those tiffin items are something that I can have all day long. But it's like a rule, you don't get it in any restaurants at lunchtime. Other than that, one more thing to note would be that they use a lot of whole peppers in all these tiffin items. So before you dig in and take a big bite, please be careful. If you're not used to having whole peppers, make sure that you remove them first before digging in. But yes, this was one more surprise that I got. Other than that, I would say North Indian food availability is not a problem at all. There are a lot of restaurants here that serve amazing North Indian food. Other than that, it's a metro city, so there's no scarcity of big restaurant chain. There's no scarcity of Swiggy, Zomato. The only thing with Swiggy, Zomato here is that, a lot of times it so happens, even in any city, I would say that the delivery boy or girl are not able to find your address, and they call you up and they're like, okay, kaise aana hai, kya karna hai, where exactly is your address? So in Chennai though, not every delivery person would be comfortable with talking to you in English or Hindi. So you might face a little bit of difficulty there at times. I'm sure you'll figure it out, but just something that might happen. So just letting you know on that. I think one of the big concerns would be social life. And unfortunately, I have to say I was not able to crack this nut, or I was not able to really figure this out. And I'm not saying this in a way that, oh, Tamil people are a certain way and that is why I couldn't figure it out. But I think it was more because I didn't try hard enough. And that is also for two reasons. One, I was super exhausted by the end of every week to also go out on Sunday and attend events happening around the city. And secondly, I also felt a bit restricted in terms of my mobility around the city, which I would talk about more as we go ahead. But yeah, I couldn't expand my social circle beyond the people that I was working with in office. But I also have this one opinion, wherein in some cases, moving to Chennai is much easier. Those two cases include: one, if you're moving here for education in a big national university or college, or secondly, if you're moving here for work into a big company like Deloitte. Now, why do I think that? I think that because in both these cases, you're not the only person who is the odd man out and trying to figure out how to live and go about Chennai. You would have people like you who are also trying to do the same, so you always have company while you do that. Just imagine you are the one single alone person on streets of Chennai, not knowing the language and trying to figure it out, versus you're four people, none of you know Tamil, but still you're four people out and about trying to figure things out. So I think you would be much more comfortable in the latter case. And of course, if you know someone living in Chennai, even a distant relative, it really makes things easier because you would always have someone you can rely on, maybe visit them on weekends or something like that. So I think these things definitely help.
Junior Kapana.
I would say the best thing to do in this case would be to know Tamil or learn Tamil a bit, because it increases your access to the city fourfold. Because without Tamil, you're only restricted to moving around only through very urbanized regions of the city, which is mostly just the big malls, big shops, and the main roads. And you can't just restrict yourself to that, because you have to move around. You have to go to stores and markets and get things, right? Particularly if you're living there. So let's say if you are not able to learn the language, or you don't have the time for that, the best thing to have would be having a Tamil speaking person close to you. It doesn't matter if they know the language very fluently, even if they just know the basics, it can really influence your freedom to move around and do things. Uh, Other than that, I would say I didn't face a lot of North Indian hate really throughout my time there. There was only this one incident wherein I wanted to get something from a grocery store in an emergency situation, and I didn't have cash on me. So I was trying to tell this shopkeeper that I use GPay or something like that, and he was not able to understand. So I told him that Tamil Teri Ada, which basically translates to I don't know Tamil. And he felt very offended by that, and in a very rude way he said something in Tamil which kind of meant that I don't know English or Hindi either, and he just threw his hands up in the air. But I think that was a very minor incident that happened, and it really didn't affect my time there as a whole. The next one is about the weather, which was just so unexpected for me, that I was not able to adjust to it. At least in the beginning, my first 1 2 months went terribly, especially the whole July to October period was off. I found it very difficult to go through the heat. I always felt that both Mumbai and Chennai are both so close to the coast and it would be the same. But for me, in my experience, Chennai heat and humidity is a lot more than Mumbai. So if you're someone who is used to using AC, let me tell you, you really need that in Chennai, wherever you decide to stay. So get ready for that. Other than that, a very important warning is that please take Chennai storms seriously. As a Mumbaiker, whenever I've heard that, oh, there's a storm warning, I've experienced that it's mostly just strong winds and very heavy rainfall. But woo, Chennai storms are monsters. They just ragged the city up, guys. Like, I took it very lightly because I literally didn't know that it's a big deal. I was not prepared in terms of food or batteries and stuff like that. And damn, I went through a terrible time when I was stuck in the storm in December 23. It was just very frightening for me. As I was living alone, I had to wake up to my doors and windows getting banged and water seeping through. So yeah, I would say please make sure whenever there's a storm that you have like friends or someone around you, you have all your cell phones or like lights charged, you have food and everything ready, because you never know how much time it might take for the storm to go away. So be careful about that. But the silver lining is November to Jan, the weather is absolutely pleasant. Like, I genuinely enjoyed my time during those 3 months there, which is also one of the best times to visit Chennai or even like Tamil Nadu, because very pleasant weather, which is also going to be our next topic, and that is travel and what all things you can do around. So there's quite some things you can do. Well, not quite. There's a lot of things that you can do in and out of Chennai. Starting with things you can do inside of Chennai. You have a lot of beautiful beaches, magnificent, huge temples. You have cafes and restaurants offering you different kinds of cuisines and beautiful local markets wherein you can shop till your heart's full. And you can do all of this under beautiful blue skies with clean air. Cleaner, I'm saying, at least compared to other metro cities in my experience, I've felt Chennai air to be very nice. The amount of color that you get to see in Chennai is insane. The beautiful color combinations that they have, their clothes, the way they adorn themselves, the jewelry, the beautiful flowers that you get to see around temples, and there's so many different garlands that you get to see. The symbols, the architecture is just all so beautiful to experience. What's very unique about Chennai is that they have been able to preserve their traditional Tamil culture while also becoming a metro city. And I say this because even till date, you when you, if you get up early in Chennai and are moving around the streets, you can see people still making those kolam, which is basically like a type of South Indian rangoli, and they have these cute mini shrines outside their house, which they worship every day. So it's very unique, and I'm hardly scratching the surface as I mention these things. You really have to come here and stay to experience the full range of Tamil magic. And beaches, I've seen such a unique culture around beaches. There's so many activities that you get to do. There's so many games around beaches. There's very unique features wherein there are like these parrot fortune tellers or these parties, which is a word for grandmothers or like old females who move around, and they have a very specific way they talk, the way they like dress themselves and all.
உடம்பு இன்னும் மனசளவு நல்லா உங்க அப்பா சைடுல ஒரு தெய்வம் தான் உனக்கு சொல்ல வந்தது. காசு சுத்தனம் கொடுத்த ஆனா ஒரு கை பொண்ணு செலவு பண்ற கை சொல்.
So it's a big activity. Like visiting beaches is not just a casual thing that you would do. You would go and like spend a few good hours there because there's just so much to soak in. There's also like a whole different variety of types of beach foods that you get, and you will see a line of all these food stalls there, and you just can't help yourself but eat something or the other. So that's very fun. Amidst all this chaos, beaches are so huge that you would still be able to find your quaint little corner and relax there. So I think that makes things very unique. And stuff to do outside would include, you can always do a quick visit to Mahabalipuram. On the way to Mahabalipuram, there's also this place called Dakshin Chitra, which is basically this museum, but it's a very different kind of museum in a way that they have made life-size houses belonging to different parts of South India. Like you have houses from Kerala, you have houses from Andhra Pradesh, you have houses from Tamil Nadu. So you get to experience that in all of its aspects, like right from the furniture to the kind of dishes and the kind of art you can get to see in these places. There are so many workshops that happen around there as well. So if and when you visit Mahabalipuram, on the way, I would say definitely make a stop on Dakshin Chitra. It is a amazing experience, but I would also suggest that it's a whole day activity to visit Dakshin Chitra. So maybe you would want to do Dakshin Chitra one day and then head to Mahabalipuram, because both these things require like good time to kind of completely understand and soak in. So yeah, there's Mahabalipuram, where again you get to see big old temples and architectural marvels. And if you go a little bit more ahead, you have Pondicherry, which is one of the best places to like relax, chill, have great food. And there's Auroville also, which I don't need to say a lot about. It's just a lot of fascinating things to do around you. So you are never going to be bored. Trust me on that. Our last section for today is going to be about transportation. I would say, in terms of the quality of transportation infrastructure that's available, it's very good in terms of the quality of roads and the amount of transportation modes or ways that's available to you. It's very nice. But as a non-Tamil speaking person, I think you are not able to access everything. Why do I think that? It's because one of the most reliable, very convenient modes of transportation, that is rickshaws, become inaccessible to you for two main reasons. One being that you sometimes are not able to tell them or convey that where exactly do you want to go, because you're new to the city, you don't know the areas very well, and again you're not able to talk to them in Tamil. And secondly, because I have observed this a lot of times in my cases, and I've also heard about it from other people, that a lot of times the rickshawalas here or even some private cab drivers, they start charging you much more and a lot of extra money just because you're a non-Tamil speaking person, not because they hate you per se, but they just try to take advantage of you not knowing the language, and probably you are way more desperate to get from one place to other for obvious reasons, and you are obviously prone to pay more, and that's why they try to earn more from customers like these. So I felt very distanced from this mode of transportation. I was not able to rely on that anymore. And because of that, I always had this weird kind of anxiety whenever I was out as to if and when I would reach back home safely or in time or with ease. It was always this intense pressure that I felt that, oh, do I have to get back home? I have to hurry, I have to rush, or else it just might get difficult to get back home. So I think that is one of the major issues. Other than that, I had to rely mostly on Uber, Ola, and Rapido. Rapido bikes the most because, first, pocket friendly, and secondly, most of these drivers are able to kind of manage speaking to you in English or Hindi. So that made things easier for me. There's also Uber, Ola cabs, but again, it's not very pocket friendly to use that option always. There's also bus that's available, but I personally have never understood the bus system very well. And asking anyone questions there about how this works would have been a big challenge. So I never really went out there and explored that option a lot. One very good thing is the metro system here. It is very well connected, and I was able to move through the city, through the major regions very easily, very frequently, and with very less money to make the most use of the metro system that's available to you. In conclusion, I would like to say that Chennai is a world full of passion, energy, and love, which catalyzed my self reflection and self reliance. It encouraged me to delve inward, mirroring the passion and love that Tamil people have for their culture and history. It also made me excited about exploring the different cultures that India has to offer and the diversity and richness in them. And as I started opening up to this city embraced me very warmly. And I would always carry a piece of Chennai with me no matter where I go. Chennai, you have been an absolutely inspiring and fantastic teacher. Thank you so much for choosing me.